going live. Wait for a few people to show up. Welcome in. We'll wait for a few more people to come in for this Instagram live. Zack will be joining me shortly, so stick around. He's just finishing up a meeting. Thanks for joining in, you guys. As normal, hello. As normal for Instagram Live, if you guys have questions throughout the next 30 minutes or so, please chat them through. That way we can answer them. Like I said, Zack will be jumping in this Instagram Live shortly. He's just finishing up a meeting. But again, send your questions through. My name is Nicole. We do this every week on Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm happy to jump into these questions that you guys had sent through. All right. The first question kind of deals with development and the process. So it was, do I have to live in LA to work with you guys for development? The answer is no, you do not have to live in LA. A lot of the brands we work with don't live in California even. We work with you through video chat, phone calls. We send you guys swatches just to really customize the experience for you. All right. Would you use a specific garment of my request for clothing development? Yes, I think I understand your question. So for development, we work off of reference samples, garments that you would provide that communicate a similar fabric and fit to what you want to create. It doesn't need to be exact, and we can use more than one reference sample per style. So sometimes people send in, oh, yeah, you can use a garment from a different culture. As long as it helps communicate the fabric and fit you're looking for, that's fine. In development, we kind of go over all of the nitty-gritty details of your garment. So the things you like about it, the things you don't like, the pattern making, the sample making, artwork, labels, all of the nitty-gritty details. So that's what we really plan out in your development meeting, is what your collection is going to look like. I need help with my brand. Perfect. Do you want to shoot a few questions through with what exactly you're looking for? And then you can also reach me directly outside of this chat. You can DM us. You can reach me on my email. It's Nicole@indiesource, pretty simple.com, obviously, and we can chat, and I'd be happy to help. All right, next question I got is, what are your payment terms? Well, for development, payment would be paid in full up front, and that's just because it goes directly to the team that is helping you. Let me grab this question first. How long in advance do I need to make an appointment for development time-wise? We can't really do it same day. But I have availability this week. Tomorrow's a little bit full, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm available. We would need to set that up outside of this conversation just so I can make sure we have an exact time set and I have time on my calendar for you specifically. Development takes about an hour if we're doing the 3 to 4 styles. If we're doing a lot more, it might be a bit more, but it typically is about an hour. Jumping back into the original question, our payment terms for production are 50% upfront, 50% upon delivery. Let's see here. What is your MOQ for production? And do you have an MOQ for development? Yes, our MOQ for production is 300 units per style. We can break that into 3 different colors, and then we can break it into the different sizes that you'd be needing for your brand as well. And then we do have an MOQ, we have a minimum order for development, and that is going to be 3 styles. 3 styles is our minimum, just because that's a really good way for you to launch a brand and have some product. And then it's also good to just, you don't have to move into production with all 3 styles right away, but it's nice to kind of be able to put 2 into production, fundraise for the 3rd, and then you would be set up for success in that regard. Zack is about to jump in as well. So
very nice. Okay.
We have the nice lighting.
Much better.
Okay, so again, if you guys have questions for Zack or I throughout this Instagram live, just shoot them over and we will answer them in between us working down this list from questions that you guys have already sent.
How's the audio? Can everyone hear okay? If you can, just give us a shout, let us know. Because we could also add a mic if we need to.
Oh, okay,
it's perfect.
It's
a little bit far it seems.
Just yelling in the atelier.
Yeah, pretty much. If you can't hear, let us know, please.
Okay. Perfect. So I feel like this question is good for you. How do you cost a project for one garment? And is it a price per unit or a total production cost?
So when we're doing one garment, we have to make one garment first. And part of the reason we do one garment is actually to figure out what the production is going to be. And so I think they're asking not what is the cost of a garment, but what is the cost of production.
Ah, okay.
I don't know. If this isn't true, then you can let me know. What we're doing is just adding the material cost, the trim cost, and the labor cost. We're looking at the number of units that you're planning to do, and then we're breaking that out. So we don't cost. So one garment, maybe one way to think about it is that when you're doing samples, it's more of like a time-based thing, like service. And when you're doing production, because of economies of scale, you can actually produce it at a lower price point. That's why samples can cost hundreds of dollars, and that same garment might be, $20 in production.
Perfect. This one just came through. Do the styles have to be the same garment? For example, 3 bottoms, 3 tops, etc. for development?
They should all be different garments. Different styles. So when we're looking at your collection as a whole, if there are 10 styles, that means 10 different unique styles, right? So think about, this is one style, that's another style, that's another style, my pants are another style. So you want to think about it in the way that you would look at outfits potentially and put together different looks for your collection so that you have the ability to sell more than just one unit when somebody goes onto your website.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. So let's do this one. We have a brand and we're searching for production. Can you help? They're located in Belgium.
We can help, but I think it's important to consider where you're selling your products. One of the things that we really push is local, like making it somewhere near, like closer to where you're going to be selling it. So, honestly, if you're in Belgium and you're going to be selling it there, I would probably look for something more local to you first before you come out to the US. If for some reason made in America is important to you, then that's a different story, I guess. But I think it's important to consider, where is the end consumer, where are they buying it from? Now, if you're a Belgian company, we have a lot of Australian companies that sell in Australia but also sell a lot into the American market. So for them, while it doesn't make sense, if you're an Australian company, it doesn't make sense to produce it in LA only to ship it to Australia. But if you're going to be selling a good portion of that into the US market, it definitely makes sense. And so what a lot of brands will do is they'll manufacture some of it on one side of the world and some of it here, so that they can supplement it. Likewise, a lot of brands that we work with are producing in China, but then they supplement it here in LA. So we're making product here, and they're making some other stuff over in China too. And so it all comes down to just being cognizant of where you're making your products and compared to where it's going. One of the things that most people don't realize is how much waste and pollution there is just in shipping stuff on a boat. So if you can avoid that, it's a really, really big benefit.
Definitely. If you want to open 2 lines at once, can you do it in one development meeting?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Even though you might be doing let's say a kids line and then a contemporary, maybe like a swim line or something. Like they could be somewhat different and have different audiences and customers, but the way in which we develop those products does not change. And so the more you can do at one time, the better. A lot of the time people will say, hey, I want to start with one piece. Okay, and so then I have to ask, okay, are you going to be selling one thing? And they say, no, I just want to get started. The reason that's not a good idea, there's a couple of reasons, but the main reason is because development is a long process. I mean, there's, depending on what you're making, you're going to have to go through multiple rounds. You have to find lots of different kinds of fabrics. You have to test the fabric. You have to build and fit your garments. There's so much that goes into it. And if you're just going to do one and then stop and then do one again, or do, like, it's going to be not only super expensive, but it's going to be extremely time consuming. So take the time in the beginning. That's why we're so crazy about planning in the kickoff meeting. Take the time to plan out the whole collection. Make sure it merchandises well. It looks good together. Like there's a bunch of different things that actually like make sense. Mm-hmm. And think about your customer and how they're going to be seeing that. So actually, like if you're selling direct to consumer on a website, envision the site, envision the homepage when somebody's going to it for the first time. What are they going to see? Yeah. Actually think about that before you make your collection, before you develop anything. Think about your website. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it's not. Think about what are they going to see first? Which styles are they going to see? What's going to go together, right? And then decide, all right, we're going to do 10 pieces. And if you're doing two different brands, coming back to this original question, that's fine too. You can develop them together, but then you would produce and just launch them on different sites or different areas of your site.
Yeah. Do you guys have a minimum? Yes. Ah, perfect. Look at that.
There we go. Yeah.
We love it. Yes, she's
Helping
correct.
out.
300 units per style. You can break that into 3 colors and different sizes as well.
Thank you, Shannon. You rock. All right.
Okay, perfect. Is a top and bottom with the same fabric considered a set or one style? For example, like a bathing suit.
Yeah, it would be, typically it's a different style. So if they're separated and we're going to be making them on different markers, remember the marker is the pattern that has been graded into different sizes and laid out on pattern paper the width of the fabric that we're going to be cutting. If that's going to have different styles, then it's going to be its own set. So almost in every case, just consider that it's going to be a different style if it's a unique, separate piece, unless it's attached, really.
Yeah, definitely. Zach, how important is it for us to meet deadlines?
Well, it's the most important thing, but here's the trick. You have to create the deadlines early, right? And so the number one reason why deadlines are not hit actually come from the planning. It's like lack of planning or like not really getting clarity in the beginning of what those deadlines are. So if you guys have any deadlines, if you have any sort of like launches or photo shoots or anything, you have to communicate that to your manufacturer. And this comes back to them being a partner, not just somebody you're buying stuff from. So really plan out with them any deadlines that you have in the very, very beginning. So that way, everybody knows what the heck to expect, and there's no, because also there may be some things that are unreasonable. Certain things that we source come from far away, okay? There's certain trims you just have to get in China you can't get here, okay? And especially certain custom trims. If I don't know, if you don't know our timelines for that, which is, it's usually gonna be a month for certain things like that, then we're both in bad shape. So if you tell us up front you need to have product at a certain date, and then you say that you want this trim that we know is going to be really, is going to have a long timeline, we'll just tell you that you can't source that, basically. And so then you get to pick, though. Then you get to say, all right, well, either A, let's push out the timeline, or B, let's not source the trim.
Yeah.
And putting the power back in your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. What is one piece of advice you would give people when they're starting out?
think about the money first. Like, well, I'll start with this. The number one reason why brands are failing, the number one reason, actually is because they don't have enough capital to run their business. So meaning they might have a little bit of money to get started, or maybe to even put together like a small capsule collection. But if you don't have enough money to market and to keep it going, it's really, really hard. So I would say invest in real budgeting. And if you need help, if you're not a finance person, there's a couple of people that we work with that we could refer you to that are really, really, really good, that are, CFOs for bigger corporations that do some consulting inside things like this to help fashion entrepreneurs build out like financial budgets, so that they know how much, you guys would know how much you're going to spend on the development, how much on the production, what to spend on marketing, building out your plan based off of how much money you have. Because the reality is you have to start with how much money do you have,
Yeah.
right? And then from there you figure out, all right, what's the best way to use the money?
All right. How many samples do you make in development?
We start with one sample until we nail that and it's perfect, and then we can make multiple duplicates, which is like the same as the first sample but more, or we can in some cases make other colors, or we can grade, and then after we grade we can make the different sizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's one sample until we have it good, and then we can do salesman samples as well if we need to.
Yep. There's some requests to join.
How does it work if I already have a prototype, sketch, and tech pack, but no patterns? This question.
If I already have a prototype, sketch, and tech pack, but no patterns, that's fine. Then we start from there. Then we use your prototype or your tech pack, which should have specifications, to build patterns. Oh, okay, we're back. Somebody wanted to be in the live video. All right. I'm going to let you do this. Hopefully you have a good question. All right, Steven. Steven, let you.
Oh.
Okay. He declined. Maybe he's getting a little nervous now. Or maybe we answered the question. Hopefully that's what we did.
Hopefully we answered the question. All right, let's see here. Do you help with retail placement, or do you do drop shipping?
We do not. Well, what I'll say is we do this. We will help you in every way possible to support your brand. And so if that means, me reaching out to some of our contacts, then I'll do it. However, as a service, we don't really offer a lot of the retail placement. And what was the other thing? Drop shipping.
Drop shipping.
We don't typically do drop shipping. Usually you would send it out yourself or work with a fulfillment company. If you need a fulfillment company, then once you begin working with us, we can get you linked with our partners. So that is definitely available.
Looks like we answered the question. Woo!
There we go.
Okay, perfect. That was actually all the questions we have asked from this week. We can jump into some from last week as well. How long does it take to get a sample?
How long does it take to make any product? I don't. The reason I don't answer this question usually is just because it depends on what we're making, and there's so many different things that we've made. We've made thousands of different products, and they're made of so many different materials, and because the range is so big, it's stupid for us to give an answer without knowing what you're making. What we like to do is sit down with you and look at your project and actually build out like a clear plan for what it is we're going to make and like how long it'll take. Yeah. But one thing that I'll mention, which I think is interesting, I was just at a conference in New York last week. I don't know if you guys were watching, but so I was on the panel second, but the first people that went up before me was Levi's and Google. And one of the interesting things that they said, and I had it on the stories, I don't know if anybody saw it, but the guys from Google and Levi's were talking about how they worked for 4 years just on like this initial part of building the jacket. And I mean, like they really, and this is Google and Levi's, like they have like all like unlimited money, and they were saying like, just you have to be patient with product development. You have to be patient with making something that doesn't exist, and you have to be excited about the fact that there's going to be things that don't work out, and you're going to try fabrics, and you're going to say, "Oh, I don't like it anymore," and so one of the requirements to be a successful entrepreneur is that you are comfortable when things just don't work out exactly how you plan. Yeah. And so this is really no different because you're going to be in situations where you don't know whether something's going to react a certain way, and you just have to be comfortable that number one, the team that's working with you is working through the problems, right? Mm-hmm. We're working to solve them, not that there aren't going to be any. And that's a really big distinction. There's going to be problems for sure, no matter what, because you're building something brand new. Yeah. And so you have to look at them as opportunities and just, I would say that mindset is so big if you're starting out. And I know it's scary, but going into it, understanding that you just have to build the best team around you is the best way for you to succeed through development when you don't really know exactly all of the variables.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. Will there be a huge gap in cost if I provide my own fabrics?
I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Like when we're doing a development quote, is there going to be like a huge price difference?
No, because we're just quoting you for our time for the most part. I mean, like if you're sourcing your own fabrics and you have that already sourced, I would bring your fabrics to us. Again, we don't want to do things you've already done. Yeah. So if you have them, bring them to us, and we don't want to charge you for that. Like that's just buy them and bring them, and we can use them to cut and sew. Mm-hmm. Does having a design patent help my brand? You have to be careful with that, and it really depends on what you're trying to do. Not all things are applicable for that. Yeah. I would say definitely make your product first before you do anything. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't worry about too much legal stuff before you even have a prototype. Anything else?
If I provide denim, are you able to manufacture it?
Yeah, typically, I mean, we can usually cut and sew something like that. But if there's a lot of what I would call like custom hand work, it's more of a case by case basis, and we don't do a whole lot of that.
That's all the questions. Do you have any last pieces of advice for everyone, or anyone have any last questions they want to shoot through?
Yeah, if you guys anything else, I mean, the only thing I actually care about is that you guys are in a position to move the dial forward. Yeah. That you are not stuck in whatever phase you're at. So some of you are stuck in, I have a sample, but I don't know how to get this manufactured. Some of you have your production sitting in your garage and you don't know how to sell it. Some of you have an idea for your line, but you don't know how to communicate what it is that you want. So all we care about is that we know where you're at and we can help you get past that hurdle. So hit us up, comment on the stuff that we're posting, give us the feedback. There's a lot of support, and I mean, we've built our entire business around, providing support for new designers. And so our team, our project managers are awesome. They're all here working away on different projects right now. And so, I mean, if I were getting started, the opportunity to be able to work directly with one of our project managers and our team here it will fast track the whole process, and you'll be able to lean on our expertise. If you're waiting for a call back, usually not long. I mean, we're pretty quick to give calls. So yeah. Shoot us. If you haven't gotten a call and you've contacted us recently, then please contact us again. Sometimes spam happens, but I mean, we're in here every day responding to a lot of different requests from a lot of people. If you want to set up a meeting, you can reach out to Nicole.
You can email me or you can call me. It's the phone number on the website, and my extension is 704. My email is nicole@indiesource.com.
There we go.
Super easy.
Super easy. All right, you guys, have a good day. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate all the questions, and we hope you will tell us some updates. Let us know how you're doing and what's going on in your world. We want to support you, so please fill us in, and we appreciate all the attention.
Yes, we look forward to speaking with you soon.
All right, you guys, have a good one.
Bye.